guys, welcome to a new tutorial. This time we're going to celebrate the World Book Day and we're going to create an isometric landscape on Illustrator. I'm going to share with you the color palette that we're going to use for this project, and let's go to Illustrator. And to create an isometric landscape, first we need to create an isometric grid. So take your line tool and create one line on one point of the canvas. Now duplicate this line and with Ctrl and D create as many copies as you want. You can leave it here. Make this taller, group them, and now copy this with Ctrl C and Ctrl F. Go to the rotation tool, press enter, and set the degrees to 60 degrees. Now with this, copy this new duplicate, Ctrl C and Ctrl F, right click, transform, reflect, vertical reflection, and you can see that we will have this. Now all you have to do is to move it up a little bit and we will have a triangle grid. Now this is the isometric grid that we need. Now take these objects, go to view, go to guides, and click on make guides, and you will have some guides now. If you want to change this, go to edit, preference, guides and grid, and change the color to maybe a light gray. Okay, now it's time to create our first object, which is going to be, of course, one book. So let's take the pen tool, let's take the yellow tone, and I'm going to click on one point. Now, drawing in isometric grid is really simple. You just click on one point and make sure that you follow that same line. You can see that the line is attaching here, and just follow the lines to create the visual images. So it's not a big deal. And the best part is that if you create an object, then you can scale it down or scale it up, and it won't lose the perspective because we are using a grid. Now take the pen tool and the yellow color, and let's click here on one point and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, and then click here. Now let's go 1, 2, 3 lines and click on this point. You can see that this pen tool is attaching itself to the points. If yours is not doing this, just go to view and make sure that a snap to point is selected. Alright, now of course if I'm going to draw a book, I can't end this here because it doesn't make any sense. So I have to make sure that I select the point that is isometric with this one. For example, this, and then close the shape. So pay attention to this because we are going to use the same method for everything else. Now this is the top cover for the book. Now we're going to draw the side of the book. I'm going to click here with the pen tool, and now we don't need to go to the next point. We can create the line until this point and follow the perspective here, and then create a shape like this. Now I want to use the same yellow tone, but I'm going to add some black to the color. You can hide the guides. Alright, it's looking good. Now take this top cover and create a duplicate and drag it all the way until it meets the point of the side of the book, like this. You can send this to the back, and now we have all the covers for the book. Now we need to create, of course, the content of the book, the pages for the book. Now to do this, I'm going to create a line from here to this point and follow the line all the way to this point. Now this should be white. Now let's see how this looks. This is looking good. Make sure this is on top. And we have our first book. Now we can add some details to it. Let's see. Let's take this book cover, the top cover of the book, and press Ctrl C and Ctrl F to set it on front. And I'm going to turn this into a little more orange. And what I'm going to do is to click on the direct selection tool, this one, and click on this side, and keeping the same isometric view, I'm going to change this here and this side too, to create a little line. Let's see how it looks. Perfect. Now we have our first platform. On top of this, we're going to create a bunch of new objects. So let's group this. And the thing is that we can place it wherever we want on our grid. Let's create all the objects and then we can worry about the placement of these objects. So here we have the first platform. We can increase the size. Don't worry about it. Now let's create the second platform. I want 1, 2, and 3 platforms. Now for the third platform, I'm just going to create an open book by following the same technique that I just applied for the previous platforms. Let's see how it looks. Great. Now let's take this book or this new platform and let's take it here. Let's reduce the size. So now we need to create the things that are going to be over here inside on top of these platforms. So the first one will be very simple. Just duplicate this book and we're going to scale it down and paste it on top of this book. Now create 2 duplicates of this and change the color so that the books are different, and group all of these and take it to the other platform too. Alright. Now I want to create a different books. Just repeat the same process as we did with the previous books, but this time this will be vertical. Now create 2 copies, change the color, and duplicate this on the third platform too. Alright. Make sure everything is attached to the grid. Like this. Okay. Now I want to create some steps from one platform to another. So this will be really simple. In fact, I'm going to take this book as a base. Let's use it here. And I'm going to change this a little bit. Take this shape and drag it to the other side of the book. and create a copy here and just change the tone. This one will be a little darker, like this. And that's it. Now just place them as the steps, as the staircase to each platform. And of course change the colors. Alright, you have a beautiful set of staircase. And in fact, we're going to use these steps to create a set of pillars of the books, because I want to create two pillars made out of books, because remember that the idea is that the books are the base for everything else. So let's create this. Let's take all these steps over here to create the tower. And now let's do this. I'm going to take one of these books and make a tower like this. And I'm going to transform this and create a little game playing around with this. Maybe it's even easier if we just create a tower with all of them, create a big colorful tower, group everything, and create a duplicate and place it on the grid. Place both of these tower on the grid, of course. Now, before we create anything else, I want to create one big rectangle here. To create a background, I'm going to use this color, the very pale blue. Of course, I'm going to send this to the back. In fact, I'm going to create a new layer, call this background, and take this shape to that layer. Alright, looks better now. Much better now. Now we're almost done, believe it or not. But I want to create some clouds and a few flying books in here, right here on the sky. I think it's going to look pretty cool. So for now, let's turn this off. And to create the clouds, it's really simple. Just take a rounded rectangle tool and create a shape like this. Let's make this pink for now. Create a new shape like this, and one final shape right in the middle, like this. Now let's group everything. In fact, you can unite this. Let's make it blue. And now all you have to do is to select your shear tool and shear this object until it has the same isometric view. Just take it here. Alright. Right. This is good. Alright. Now all you have to do is to create a duplicate of this right here, a little bit, following the grid. Make this one lighter. And now create a duplicate of this. Press Ctrl C and Ctrl F and press Ctrl 2 to block this. And now make these two objects the same color and go to blend and make. and you have this shape now. Alright, now let's take these clouds, let's scale it down a little bit and set one cloud in here. And let's duplicate this and let's transform this, reflect this, and place a smaller one on this point and a bigger one in here. Maybe even bigger. This is good. Let's take this all the way to here. Now for the flying books, we're going to use, guess what, this platform. So we don't have to do much in here. Take this and make this smaller. Place one in here, like a floating book. And in this part, let's reflect this. Make it bigger. And let's create another one really small. And it can go right here. Alright. Now it's time to speed things up a little bit. I'm going to create a library here, a bookshelf. Take a rounded rectangle. Just like this one. Perfect. Let's make this yellow. And use the grid. Use the shear tool. Alright, make sure it's attached to the grid. Okay. Now create a duplicate right here, like this. This duplicate can be a little darker. And in here, all you have to do is to add some volume, like this. Alright, now create one in here too, like this. Now let's create another rounded rectangle. Can be something like this one. And with the shear tool, let's make it attached to the grid. Place it here. Make sure this one is on top. And just create some shelves. And now it's time to fill this library, this bookshelf, with actual books. So let's take some of these and let's reduce the size. And we have a bookshelf. Group everything. Now it's time to create some decorations for this beautiful landscape. So I'm going to create first a pile of papers. And here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to create a rectangle. Create a rectangle like this. Let's make this, let's work with a grayscale. Let's set it to gray and create another rectangle and create 1, 2, 3. So we will have 5. Let's create one more until you have 6 rectangles. So this one will be lighter, like this one too, and this one like this. All right. Now take this, group this, and let's attach this to our grid. Just grab your direct selection tool and grab the right side points and do something like this. Attach them to the point until they have the same angle as the isometric grid, of course. Now take this, Ctrl C and Ctrl F, go to transform and reflect this vertical and place it here. In this case, we can make this a little bit longer, just like that. Now, take your pen tool and create the top paper, like this. Now fix this part, and you will have this. Alright, now this one should be white, or at least wider than the rest. Create a simple layout for this pile of papers and duplicate it into another platform. Now it's time to add some more decoration into this landscape. Create any objects that you want. I'm going to create some plants, and I'm going to create also a cup of coffee to add some more details into this landscape. Okay, I think we're done here. Let's bring our background again and let's turn off the guides. Let's see how cool it looks. Now, to finish this, I have here 2 characters that I'm going to share with you, of course, and I want to add them to our landscape. I'm going to share with you these characters, and all you have to do is to place them wherever you want. I want this guy to be here, like looking at the books, and this girl will be reading a book here on top of books, because books are the base for everything here on this landscape. Now we should create a ladder here for this girl. This is pretty easy to create. Just take your rounded rectangle tool. Let's use this color and create some of the steps. Now take this and let's bring this stir. Let's make this thinner. And let's see, we can create something like this with the shear tool. And like this. Alright, this looks pretty cool, but we need some title to this landscape, of course. So we're going to create a text. Let's write world book on another line and day on another line. Now let's see what typography we can use. I'm going to use a font called Galano that I'm going to share with you, of course. And let's turn this into outlines. And let's use, for world, let's use magenta. For this, let's use green. And for this, we can use the blue. And now let's play around with this, maybe closer. All right. Now take this here, make it bigger, and let's bring our guides again, and let's make this follow the same perspective. Let's bring it here so we can see better now. And with the shear tool, we can create the same perspective. Alright, now place this in here, make it bigger, and let's turn off the guides. And that's it. We have created our isometric workbook day landscape. Thank you for joining me. I hope that you had fun on this tutorial, and see you on another one.